Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to continue the short story of Chief Science Drone 49. This is part 2 in the short story that takes place in the Hive. This is during the earlier days of the Hive venturing out into space, and they just reached Sosta 3. So, without further ado, let's find out what happens. Stepping down the ramp, I would lead my team to the very edge of the cold, metal ramp system. We all take a pause and stop. I myself, alone, would take the first step onto the surface of this alien world, and as a result, I would now in fact be the first ever heat bug to step foot on a life-covered planet. Taking the first step, even in my suit, I could feel the soft green grass under my bladed legs. The rest of my team would then follow me out onto the surface of the planet. We look around in the small clearing we find ourselves in, yet still being on an edge of a giant forest that surrounds us. To our surprise, it looks like this forest and the landscape in general, it looks like it would be dominated by plant life in place of fungus life like on our homeworld of Fungera. We slowly spread out and look around in the area we find ourselves in. I would look and touch a large fern-like plant with a strange purple base, leaking some kind of golden sap. I could not help myself but to take a sample of this sap in a tube. I hold it up to my visor so I can get a better look at it, and I can't help but continue to smile. My team and I would keep exploring, spreading out in all directions but staying rather close to the ship. That is when one of my crew members called out to us all to look up into the sky. With his voice having a panicked tone, I turned as fast as I could to look up at the air, and to my horror, there would be this flock of fung-walker-sized, feathered, bug-like life forms flying across the sky. Instinctively, Warrior 29, our main guard force, would hold up his spike launcher, ready to fight off the danger. But I quickly call out to him to wait. My horror soon starts to fade as I get the realization that they can clearly see us, but would not bother attacking or anything to do with us. All they do is seem to chirp to one another as they keep on going about their business. This would be strange, as on Fungera, every flying life form is hell-bent on eating every heat bug they can. So this is strange. Using my heads-up display in my helmet, I am able to zoom in on the strange life forms, getting myself a closer look at them. The creatures would be, in truth, beautiful, with their blue and green feathers with just a little bit of red on their chest. Their multi-jaw system would seem to show they are predators, but it would seem that we're not on the menu. As I begin to calm down, and the horror feeling in my stomach is once more replaced with excitement, I decide to travel deeper into the local forest. I travel alone, thinking, what's the worst that could happen? But I am still a little nervous. Moving along a path seemingly formed from the movement of something, I venture further and further into the alien jungle of plants. Looking down to my surprise, I would see large tracks in the soft soil. I could not help myself but follow them. Walking for close to an hour, taking in all the new sights, I even stop to take a look at a flowering plant that's nearby. Remembering my studies back at the Holy Academy, I recall that flowers have been extinct on Fungera for millions of years. And that's a good thing. Fossil evidence proves that the flowers were nothing more than beautiful traps for predatory plants to kill unwary prey. I grab a small ball cam robot from my belt and place it on the ground. The small, round, five-legged robot springs to life, opening its single green eye. With a simple point of my hand, the small robot walks to the flower. Watching that, nothing is happening. No traps, no venom barbs, no carnivorous blood-hungry leaves. I myself step closer to the beautiful, nearly sparkling purple flower. I look down at it, and I can't help myself but feel relaxed. It would seem this world is, well, alien to Fungera. I carefully pick the flower and place it in a sample tube for further study. I look around me and continue to take in the beauty of the world. I would soon begin to hear a strange sound. Looking around, I pinpoint the source. It's a strange, brightly colored, feathered creature sitting in a tree. The animal is opening its multi-jaw parts and seems to be singing a song made from chirps and other similar calls. I used my heads-up display to zoom in closer on the creature to see it's in fact singing some kind of song, rather than just some random sounds. And in truth, the melody and pitch of the music it's producing is quite relaxing and beautiful. But after another half hour of walking, I finally reached the end of the trail, and in front of me would be a large beast covered in purple feathers. The animal would use its complex-looking multi-jaw part system mouth to feed on low-to-the-ground plants. This life form would be nearly 15 feet tall. With its long neck and tail, it would reach 47 feet in length. The creature would support 5 eyes on its head and would seem to have a head crest. Taking many photos of this creature, I would panic as it clearly sees me now. Its black, soulless eyes look right at me. I look right back at it as it continues to chew the plant matter in its complex jaws. Yet the animal seems not to care. It simply continues feeding, disregarding my existence, thinking to myself that this creature is not aggressive. I can't help myself but to wave my hand to it, and the animal simply keeps on with its lunch, this time on the lower parts of a nearby tree. Yet after I've taken enough photos and filled all my sample tubes with different plant and soil specimens, I soon returned to the ship in order to study the samples we gathered. Yet to my surprise, I would hear arguing, yelling, and anger. This took me by surprise, and I began to rush to the sound, though when I reached the clearing where the ship is, it was clear what was going on. There, in the clearing, Warrior 29 would be fighting and arguing with Science Drone 23. Walking up to get a clear view of why they're fighting, it would seem the warrior killed a local animal. The creature would be kinda large and covered in a thin coat of soft white feathers, with 5 soulless looking black eyes, with clearly sharp, multiple razor mouth parts. I would simply ask one question. Was it a danger? Warrior 29 would look down at the fallen creature, and then looks back up at me. I looked directly into his cold warrior's helmet visor. A moment of dead silence would be broken when Warrior 29 answered with, yes. He would begin to explain how the creature charged him and was running after him. The creature was biting at the air and trying to attack, so he believed he had no choice but to kill it. After hearing the story, I think to myself for a moment. Then I reply with an order for this argument to stop, and for us to study the creature, to see what's inside. Hauling the beast inside would be hard, as it was very heavy, but in time we set it up in the research chamber, and set it on the floor station to begin study of this strange creature. As the hours went by, Science Drone 12 and I would open up the fallen predator to examine its insides. We would take countless samples and even more notes, logging every last tendon and every muscle fiber. We'd studied its strange anatomy, the strange organs it's had, and the multiple heart systems this creature possesses. And after a few days of more gathering samples, exploring, mapping the land, testing all aspects of the planet, to even capturing live subjects to be studied, I look around in the lab chamber and can't help but once more smile. The lab would be filled with different plant and animal specimens from around the world, along with water, air, soil, minerals. All would be ready for transport to continue even more study of them, with even a tank filled with strange feathered fish-like creatures. But the time has come for us to leave the world in order to explore the rest of the star system, and more of what the galaxy has in offer. But from the findings we have gathered, Sosta 3 has been marked for a safe candidate for colonization, a huge achievement made by my crew and I. So once more, we got ready for takeoff and let the vacuum of space once more engulf us. But this time, we were even more excited than before. We left Sosta 3 behind, but we could not help but hope that we will not be the only heat bugs to walk on Sosta 3's surface, but hopefully a colony can be set up there. So once more, we traveled through space to our next destination, Sosta 2, to continue the adventure.